Now, ever wondered what could have happened if people were in touch with their mind, body, and soul? That's what we also thought. It is with great honor to introduce ourselves in a platform that is changing the world with simply information. This is SboAzi, and your compass to thinking differently.
Sanbonani, Dumalang, Ola, Salu, Nda, Abusheni. So many beautiful languages in South Africa and across the world. My name is, of course, SboAzi, and welcome to SboAzi, your campus channel. Now, today I wanted to talk about relationship. Yes, you got me right. Today, the topic that I have chose, or the actual title that, or the series that I'm talking about, will be actually about the dating scene, right? We understand that my channel is not about the dating and relationships, but I do realize that building positivity in one's life is also about relationships. Building the positivity and thinking positively is also equals to relationships in our lives. So today, for this week, we are going to be talking about Love is Blind. I wanted to dive deep into the lessons that I've learned on Love is Blind series, the dating show. And maybe you can think differently when it comes to that actual factor, right? Okay, so yes. So just relax, grab some tea or a drink, water. I've got my water bottle over here and I'll be drinking some water. Yes. So the first lesson that I actually realized when it comes to Love is Blind is that open your mind. Be open-minded. That is one of the rules that I live by. Be open-minded as a person. And I really loved how Love is Blind actually made it and actually depicted it with their characters and the people that were participating in the show. Of course, it was a reality show. It had to be natural and original as soon as possible. But we don't know, maybe there was script writing and whatever. However, the show itself was really very enticing because the people that were participating in it really made it original. And when I say original, I mean that they were just natural and just themselves, especially when it began, right? Okay, so when I say Love is Blind, I mean the characters really, some of the characters were not really educated when it comes to cultural differences and races, and therefore I saw how different characters were not really clicking because of cultural differences. I mean, when you look at the first season and the second season, there was this guy that asked that black girl, the the black girl who is now married to the Cameron Hamilton and Lorraine Speed, if I'm not mistaken. They actually wrote a book now. Yeah, in being open-minded, I think it's very important to be able to teach yourself to be open-minded when it comes to the person that you want to see. Because the show itself really is, I mean, you are dating a person that you are not seeing, who is just on a different room from the room that you are in, and you need to connect with that person. And therefore, first couple that actually took the season, the interracial couple, that won the first season, that won and got And when I say won, I mean that actually won by finding their actual significant other, which was Cameron Hamilton and Lawrence Speed. So they literally found each other. They were open minded when it comes to the dating scene. They were not bombarded by peer pressure or the fact that who they should choose or how they should act when it comes to races and different colors. They were just open minded and they gave people time. And I really love that because it tells you as a person that you should be open minded and teach yourself. So it really it taught us the importance of really not being driven by the peer pressure, because there were people that chose because of race, and because of that they didn't realize that they were not clinging to that person, and they were driven not to choose them at the end and not to get married to them because they, at the end of the day, did not choose the person that they felt Uti it was rightfully their person, you know. And when I say that, I mean when you look into or you watch thoroughly the second series, it's really more about people that really chose because of they felt the voice was a person with a different color, you know, or a color that they would most preferably date, isn't supposed to really choosing the person based on how they connected and just excluding themselves if they really did not find any connection with the person. So yes, when it comes to the open-minded, I think the first season couple, the couple that really actually was interracial, was open-minded when it comes to character, the conversations that they had, and it was really important. You know, they were really how can I put this? They were really honest, you know, in simple terms. They were honest because they saw and they felt the person on first hand would see who they connect with, and they chose each other. I mean, I think that is very important when it comes to building relationships, and it teaches us that be open-minded, you know. I think it's something that we should be grabbing onto, you know, and love, you know, as people, because eventually the person that you choose is only going to be your person you're going to spend the rest of your life with if you're not thinking of divorce, you know. Yeah, in particular. The second one that I wanted to dive deep into, and I wanted to shed some light into, it was that Love is Blind really showed us the first impressions matter. Kind of. It's really important to say that the first impressions matter rule is indeed right, is indeed correct, is indeed truthful, is indeed the truth, because there were people that really tried to impress when it comes to the conversation, and they were not really themselves, or I don't know, but there were people, when we looking into the positive and the creative and the much more honest part, there were people that really were honest when it comes to the conversations, and not really all of them, they were honest, and part of being honest is that they led to finding their significant other. You know, in simple terms, first conversation really mattered, because right on the go, when you have conversation with those 15, 12 or 15 people, then you know exactly who the one you mostly connect to. And the people that participated in that, in the in the show, really show that. I mean, first impressions really do matter, because the first time round they did well and they spoke to those people, and then finally when it was developing, after conversations and after conversations and conversations, they really knew, we would see how and who they connected with, and decided, and they were truthful, which comes and brings me to the third point, right? Which brings me to the third point, which is about respect, truth, and comfort, right? Okay, so when we're talking about Love is Blind, I realized how much respect, comfort, the truth, respect, and the truth really matter at the get go. If you're really not in love with the person or not connecting with the person behind the scenes, then you shouldn't really say yes to the will you marry me, because I mean, those people's times were wasted. The person, I mean, girls, ladies, ladies, come on. We really need to be honest when it comes to who we really connect with and who we're not connecting with. Get go and tell them. Let them not waste their time or be mentally disturbed at the end of the, goal, at the end of the day when you say no, because whether we like it or not, it does emotion. Whether we like it or not, relationships do emotionally, physically, spiritually, do have an impact on us. And Love is Blind really showed us that. I mean, you're going to be moving in with the person that you chose, and therefore, why not choose the person and be truthful to the person that you're not seeing yet, and not be pressured by who is getting married and who is getting that person, who's getting out of here. I mean, Love is Blind really showed that peer pressure does exist, but you must fight by all means to be truthful, to respect the other being by being truthful and telling them that you're not connected. First go without even seeing them. I think that was really important. That's really emphasized, because as the lies add up from the get-go, lying, it eventually adds up to more lies. And yeah. And then another thing that was very important when it comes to Love is Blind is the time, right? Time comes from the respect and being honest kind of vibes. And when it comes from being honest and truthful kind of vibes, we're looking at the times, when we're talking about the time in relationships is important no matter what. The person that you're dating should be able to give you a ring after a few months or so. So Love is Blind really emphasize on that fact. If you're going to be dating a person after 2, 3, 6 months, like Steve Jobs' book says, think like a man, act like a woman says. I mean, it's very important to be able to dive deep into the time and respecting it. And respecting the fact that if a person hasn't said, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, or emphasize on the fact that, will you marry me, like J-Lo's song emphasize marry me, then you should move on, right? So I really love that Love is Blind really gave people time that needs to be respected, and therefore respect another person's time for them to be able to move on if something is not working. Now, I want to ask you a question. Is love really blind? Mm-hmm. Love is not really blind because the characters and the people that were in the show really knew or were driven by, at the end of the day, it was based on the voice, the accents, and choice. Love is not really blind, you know? Because if love really is blind, then you're not connected to the person's core, you know? And it's just a figure of speech. You know, love is blind. It's just a figure of speech for the truth and being the honesty part of it. And the show itself really does show that if you're not connected to the person's mind, their core, without looking, you know, without looking into the depths of it, like, or analyzing their accents, their race, or trying to find out who they are, how they look, not who they are basically, but how they look, then you have completely lost the importance or the fundamental or the reason of the show, which is finding the core, because the show is about that. The show is about really being blind for love, which is finding who the person really is from the core, not how they look, how they sound. Yes, so that is what really the show is about. It's about unity, it's about diversity, it's about cultural differences, education, being literate when it comes to different cultures, loving everyone, respecting everyone. And it comes to SboAzi, thinking differently. That is what SboAzi is about. It's about thinking differently. And the show really did, you know, show that if you're not going to look into someone's core beliefs and really connect to that, their spirit, then it's not gonna work. Okay, so this was really interesting for me to talk about, especially because I do not really talk about relationships that much. However, I was driven to talk about this one because it was fascinating and interesting and very motivational and creative when it comes to talking about relationships and and respecting the partnership rule, you know, because there are so many divorces nowadays. There are so many negative speeches when it comes to relationships and how they should be handled. So me talking about this is very important, and it's too important. It's important to the fact that it will drive future generations, because future generations are going to be driven by what is happening right now. it does have some sort of um, it does have some sort of impact to us and generations after us, and we need to realize that relationships can be positive. Um, they can be driven in positive ways. We just need to really know the right person for us. People change. That's really important to actually pay attention to, because as life develops, so do people develop. They would want to experience different things that are being showcased or being brought by life. And so why not be part of the evolution and stop criticizing everything and everyone, you know? And Love is Blind really does come to that. When you get into being part of the unity, the diversity, being the inclusive part of it, then it's very less critical and very much less complicated when it comes to finding our significant other, because we not looking into the part where it's about, see, the visual. It's not about the visual part, but it's about the core and the spirit. And then lastly, when it comes to relationships, I wanted to talk about Crazy Rich Asians. Now, when it comes to Love is Blind on the left hand side and Crazy Rich Asians on the right hand side, I think that they are really in correlation. You know, they're similar and very can be interlinked somehow. Know some of the lessons that I learned when it comes to the Crazy Rich Asian part of it is that surround yourself with people you can count on, right? And learn to negotiate when it comes to everything, because you need to know what you really want as a person before you meet the person. You really need to know yourself. What do you want? Where do you want to be? How do you see your life looking like in 5 to 10 or 100 years of time from now? And stay humble, but never downplay your success, right? So it does really show that. I mean, Crazy Rich Asians show that they are humble, but they're not playing down. They're not downplaying their success. They know that they're humble. However, they know who they are. And it's very important in your journey to be able to embrace the person that you are, but at the same time, really be humble, and respecting everyone for who they are as well, because they're also evolving. And as people evolve, they might help you sometime. And it shows when it comes to a character like Rachel. True, it's very important to be able to see that person, that humble girl who really loves the family part of it and the true meaning of love, rather than being driven by money and everything. And then lastly, it's about money isn't everything, right? So Crazy Rich Asians movie, the Crazy Rich Asians, the movie itself really showed that money isn't everything. Family part of it is everything, trust me. So we can have all the riches in the world without knowing for a fact who are we going to spend the riches to and for. Then it doesn't really matter. Because for us to be able to have all of this money, we want to take care of something or somebody, whether it's an animal or family or people. Charity, it's all important. Comes to the SboAzi thinking different part of it. It's very important to be able to embrace that. and that factor. Love it, embrace it, and be it. Just like Lyra would say in her song, be about it, right? Okay, so I really loved using this. I really love to use this platform for thinking differently because I am thinking differently. Okay, so see you next week. Yeah, come have lunch with me or some supper with me. Have a cup of tea listening to me. Now, thank you for listening to this video, and do listen to my other videos. Do subscribe as well to my channel and click the ring button. Just have a notification when I have uploaded a video. Remember, every week I've got a video here in my channel just for you to think differently when it comes to different subjects and creatively and positive, Now, I am SboAzi and this is SboAzi, your compass to thinking differently. Bye-bye. Salin Gatle.